Last year I set myself 16 resolutions and I learned a lot, especially about failure, but also how to avoid it. If you have set some resolutions for yourself this year, then keep watching for my tips on how you can increase your chances of success significantly. Let's go! Hi guys, it's Laura from How to Get Your Shit Together, and I help busy women get organized, get motivated, and get where they want to go. Now, whether you call them resolutions or goals or whatever, the aim is the same: to change your life for the better. And I'm sure you've had that experience where you start all strong, full of energy and enthusiasm, and then life lands in your lap. And all that energy and time and motivation and good intention goes skittering off to the four corners of the universe. And sure, they'll send you a postcard. Every now and again, they may even occasionally visit, but they won't always be there when you need them. So here is what setting 16 resolutions last year taught me about how to keep those around a little longer. One of the biggest things I learned, and this may feel contrary to the advice that I usually give, but it is to realize that you are enough. You do enough. If you've been thinking about some resolutions, now is the time to sit down and review them and ask yourself if they are really going to add value to your life. If they are, great! I will be sharing some tips in a minute on how you can best achieve them. But if they are not, now is the time to get rid of them before you waste your time and energy chasing something that is just not important to you or isn't going to enhance your life. Even though I achieved 6 of my resolutions and I made progress on other ones, I am no happier than I was last year. I learned a lot, like with my videography diploma, but I didn't always take the time to appreciate that or to implement it. I was always on to the next thing. That ends now, because after I reviewed my resolutions from last year, I actually deleted some of the resolutions that I had planned for this year. I want to apply what I have learned so far, not just run out and learn even more. Look at me grow. So when you are creating your resolutions, ask yourself, if I didn't do this, what would happen? Would your life be any worse? Because if it is not adding real value to your life, it is going to be taking away from a precious time and energy that you could be putting into something else. But okay, if you are happy with the ones you have, here are some ways to achieve them. The first is clarity of vision. If you are too vague or unsure about your destination, the only way you're going to get there is by pure luck. And you don't have to be a betting person to realize that those aren't great odds. One of my resolutions was to improve my sense of fashion. I just wanted to get out of my jeans and hoodies rut, but beyond that, I didn't really think about the style that I was going for. It was very much, let's just try and figure this out. I took a very scattergun approach and just bought random things. Now, I do think there is benefit in trying lots of different things, but I was trying too many things, just hoping for the best. I think that overall, I achieved my goal, but not quite to the level I wanted. I should have been clearer on the kind of look that I was going for. Would have saved me a lot of money too. So try have a clear vision of what exactly you want. A clear picture of what your destination looks like, so that you don't get sidetracked and end up somewhere that kind of looks like it, but you're really just not quite sure. Be as specific as you can in describing it, in picturing how you will look, how you will feel, what you are doing, so that you will know the exact point at which you can say you've made it. Next is the importance of a deep why. Not a surface level why, but several layers lower. This one was a bit of a shock to me. Last year I wanted to track my spending to see how much my monthly expenses were, and I did, but it wasn't enough. I realized afterwards that it is because my husband earns more than me. For the first few years of our relationship, I was the one who earned more. I paid all my own bills. I knew how much everything cost. Now he's the one who earns more. And I feel like a lot of my power has been taken away. Maybe it sounds silly, but especially since moving here to the US, because things are done differently here. You know, things are billed differently. There's different jargon. I feel like I have completely lost control of the family finances. I'm not nearly as informed about our outgoings as I used to be. And if I had taken some time to really understand that that is why I was tracking my expenses, I wouldn't have basically wasted a year on unnecessary tediousness. Instead, I would have paid much more attention to understanding our bills, speaking to a financial advisor, saving, increasing our assets, doing some research, etc. Which, as it turns out, is one of my resolutions for this year. So I am learning. Ask yourself why that goal is so important to you, and then ask why again and again, as well as a why you want to have several hows. So you know what your destination is, you know why you want to get there, but you also know there will be roadblocks. We will talk about those more in a minute, but there are going to be obstacles. You just may not know when or where or how big. So plan as many different routes and journeys as you can. Give yourself the most chance of success. If one way is closed, you can just go around. There are usually several ways to achieve a goal. Like, for example, getting healthy. You can eat better, but you can also exercise more. And doing both of them instead of just one will increase your chances of success. But you can also improve your sleep. You can increase your water intake. You can get a health check. You can meditate. Brainstorm all the different ways that you can add to your chance of success. Think of your trophy as being on a really high wall, and one how is a thin rope. Yes, you might be able to get there just using that one how, but if you tie several of them together, you have a much better chance. Your rope is going to be much stronger and you will be able to crawl your way to the top. Even if one bit snaps and falls away, you should still have enough to keep you going. The most successful people are the ones who give themselves the most chances to succeed. They know all the avenues and the side streets to success, so start mapping out all of your hows. Having said that, a few hows aren't necessarily going to ensure that you go the distance, so you will also need planning and preparation. My eyes were opened to this when I tried to lose some excess weight. Even though I had some ideas for how I was going to do it, I didn't make a concerted effort to fit those things into my life. I didn't schedule workouts, I didn't plan and prep my meals, and the lack of thought that I put into it up front made it so much harder to follow through because I was having to make decisions on the fly, and sometimes I was just tired or not in the mood or hangry. Let's just say that I should have lost weight from all the times I was up and down off that wagon. So if there is something that you want to do, plan for it, clear a space for it, gather the tools that you will need, make like a scout and be prepared. While you are planning, you may foresee some difficulties, those roadblocks we mentioned earlier. Or you may realize that there are some limitations on how much you can realistically expect to achieve. Or you may discover that something isn't actually possible for you after all. For me, there were some things that I wanted to do, but after speaking to an accountant here, I realized that I couldn't because of the limitations on my visa. And finding that out very early on in the process meant that I saved myself a lot of time and frustration chasing something that I couldn't have, or certainly not legally. There are lots of things that we can foresee as being potential difficulties, especially from past and bitter experience. You'll want to eat healthy, but then someone will bring a cake to work. You'll want to be productive, but then Netflix will release a new season of your favorite show. You'll want to go to the gym, but Instagram. So when you are doing your planning and prepping, include those. Make allowances for them. Come up with solutions to them. Brainstorm how you are going to overcome them. And then you won't be totally blindsided by them and left scrambling, which is exactly when you will fall back into bad but familiar habits. Anticipate them, face them, and defeat them. The roadblocks are coming, the roadblocks are coming. Now that's a movie. Now, when you are looking at a list of potential problems, maybe you're replaying past mistakes, or maybe you've actually come up against one of those obstacles, doubt will inevitably start to creep in. You'll wonder if you can really do it, you will start questioning your abilities, and you will think about giving up. But let me remind you that no one ever got anywhere by giving up. The people who are the most successful are the ones who push through. Even when times are really tough, even when they start to face a huge amount of opposition, they put their heads down, they stay their lane, and they keep going. For me, I know that I would much rather feel bad about something but keep pursuing it anyway, keep moving towards my goals, than feel bad, quit, and then feel even worse. So which kind of bad do you want to feel? It was a tough climb to the top, or I just gave up? Okay, let's talk about something that could be the difference between you quitting or seeing it through. Very often, especially on our low days, it is so easy to think that we are not making any progress, like we're not going anywhere, we haven't achieved anything. It's like one step forward and 2 steps back. But when you track your progress, when you have a visual representation of your journey, you won't want to waste all that hard work. Whether you use a checklist of steps you want to take, or a habit tracker, or whatever, getting to tick something off or cross it out or fill in a little box is so satisfying. You will want to make progress just to make that tiny little mark, to get yourself that little bit closer to the finish line. If you're like me, it will also help on those days when you are really not in the mood. You will get up and do it anyway because you will not want to break that chain of check marks. Also, if it applies, give serious consideration to taking a before photo. Even though I have been decluttering for years, it never feels like I am making any progress until I look back at a photograph of an old space that I used to have or an old room, and I see then how much crap I have actually culled. Being able to look back at your before will give you a huge boost, and it will push you ever closer to your after. Also, tracking on a regular basis helps you to stop and take stock. Sometimes when you are barreling ahead, you can miss things, or you can skip a step, or you can stray completely off track. Even though you might feel really busy and successful, when you stop and look at the steps that you're taking, you may realize that all you're doing is spinning the hamster wheel. So set a reminder for yourself to track your progress. Maybe set a reminder on your phone or leave a note for yourself somewhere, and make sure that each step you are taking is in the right direction. If you want to learn more about smashing your goals and making this your best year yet, I have a short playlist on that topic. And remember to subscribe for a regular dose of motivation and advice throughout the year to keep you on track. Until then, Garev Mila Magrav, August Becky Meshif Shigalua. Slán!